Good evening, I'm Brendan Miller. Thank you for joining us. Lise Vaugeois won her second straight election as MPP for Thunder Bay, Superior North on Thursday night. The NDP member spoke with TBT News about her goals for this term and the difficulties she's faced in trying to work with the Ford government to do what's right for our region.
And I know that we will be working together and strategizing to make sure that the entire province gets looked after. I think what I have been very disappointed by with the Doug Ford government is that they play favorites. And that's not how you should be. That's not respecting your responsibility as an elected member, and particularly as a leader. Our responsibility is to serve the people of Ontario as best as we can and to make sure that those public resources are fulfilling the basic needs that people have, which is healthcare, education. There have been so many cuts to healthcare and education and so much privatization going on, which is exactly the opposite of what needs to be happening. So that has been disappointing to see political games that really have a negative impact on people's lives. So I will certainly be there holding them to account and hopefully speaking truth to power and making them uncomfortable. Honestly, that is often the job of the opposition. I can say that there are many issues where I in the last session, reached across the aisle, wrote letters, and really tried to work with members on the other side. They're not always willing, and then when that happens, then you have to be a bit more aggressive about how you approach things and use your opportunities to put pressure on them to do the right thing.
The Federal Minister of Mental Health and Addictions, Yara Sachs, was in Thunder Bay yesterday to announce funding for the Elizabeth Fry Society of Northwestern Ontario. Over $883,000 will be provided through Health Canada's Substance Use and Addictions program. The funding will be used to operate 2 transitional homes in the city and deliver harm reduction and additional supports to vulnerable women in Thunder Bay. It will also assist in helping those struggling with addiction, homelessness, and mental health issues, access to counselors and other recovery methods with the goal of societal reintegration.
This is a health crisis, and it requires a full continuum of care services for those who struggle with substance use. And that includes harm reduction, that includes prevention programs, that includes treatment. And yes, while many of our conservative counterparts would like to only focus on the recovery piece, to see a whole person is to see them through their entire journey.
In 2023, $144 million was provided by the federal government for substance use and addictions programs. Sachs mentioned this is just the start of the funding for Thunder Bay and surrounding area. On the heels of that explosive confrontation in the Oval Office, questions remain today about what happens next. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has left Washington today, meeting with European allies and Canada in an effort to secure lasting peace in his country. CTV's Jeremy Sharon has the latest.
You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III.
It was the shouting match heard around the world.
What about West? If you didn't have our military equipment,
Now it's the fallout everyone is focused on.
It was disastrous for Ukraine. It was disastrous for Europe and also for the United States. And it was a great victory for Vladimir Putin.
The diplomatic disaster led to the cancellation of a deal both sides hoped to sign Friday, an agreement over Ukraine's rare minerals many believe could be a crucial step towards a peace deal. But instead,
it will be very difficult to patch things up between Zelensky and Trump, but it's important to try because the United States has some military capabilities that are absolutely necessary.
What's your message to Donald Trump, Mr. Zelensky?
President Zelensky today arrived in London. He met with UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer at 10 Downing Street.
You have full backing across the United Kingdom.
This comes ahead of an emergency defense summit tomorrow aimed at securing peace in Ukraine. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau will attend as well.
Trudeau and so many other European leaders are going to have to give Zelensky more cards, a stronger hand. That's going to be essential to make sure that Donald Trump takes everything more seriously and realizes that he can't just bat around the rules-based international order.
Before arriving in the UK, Zelensky posted on social media, "It's crucial for us to have President Trump's support. He wants to end the war, but no one wants peace more than we do." Ukrainians reacting to the meeting in Kharkiv today likened Friday's interaction to a Hollywood movie. Like in The Godfather, kiss the ring. If you don't, get out, said this Ukrainian man. Friday's meeting created a landscape of incredible uncertainty for Ukraine, potentially leaving them to rely on allies like Canada and the EU that will struggle to fill the military void that could be left by the U.S. Jeremy Sherrill, CTV News, Ottawa.
Culinary students in Thunder Bay are helping to feed the area's less fortunate while getting a valuable education experience at the same time. This is the second year that Confederation College has collaborated with the Regional Food Distribution Association, and this year's initiative is receiving a $25,000 contribution from the Molson Foundation. For the partnership, students cook up a variety of meals while the RFDA distributes the food through its network of food banks and community organizations. Last year, the culinary class helped produce over 18,000 meals. The extra funds will be going towards the purchase of high-quality ingredients and the expansion of meal production. Tanner Harris with the RFDA is a graduate of the college's culinary program. He says the partnership provides students with valuable hands-on training.
I was actually working in an institution at the time, and this would have been really beneficial to me at that time to learn how to cook in large quantities. So I really see the benefit of this this program in those parts of the industries.
It's just an amazing experience. It's amazing to watch our students grow and evolve as the program moves on. And I think we're really excited to continue this partnership with the RFDA, and we're excited to see what our students can do in the future.
By 2026, Harris hopes to at least double the amount of food they're producing now, so they'll be able to serve the whole region. Sleeping Giant Brewing Company, in collaboration with United Way of Thunder Bay, have crafted a new beer called Better is Possible Smash Lager. Better is Possible is a new campaign by United Way with their goal of smashing poverty. In addition, SMASH is an acronym for the beer itself, Single Malt and Single Hop Lager. After a successful collaboration with their root beer, Novembrugger, CEO of United Way, Thunder Bay, Albert Brule, was so thrilled with how that turned out, the two teamed up for a much bigger commitment.
At a minimum, we have made the commitment that this Better is Possible campaign will be 3 years, and that's where Sleeping Giant Brewing Company said, well, we're with you. We're going to commit to 3 years. We're going to commit to raising $10,000 a year through the Better is Possible Smash Lager. And, imagine if we had other partners, other organizations. It doesn't take very long to, raise a significant amount of funds to address those really, really troublesome challenges.
When you get the opportunity to work with such reputable organizations like United Way and do really awesome work in your community, and just by kind of, going out of your way a little bit by creating this new product, help promote it, you take those opportunities and you take the risks as well.
The lager is already available at the Sleeping Giant Brewery. The aim is to have it available in local restaurants and bars as soon as possible, too. The 45th annual Sleeping Giant Provincial Park Allotment races went today. Last year's lack of snow didn't allow for the races to happen, but the recent snow dump had the crews rushing to groom the trails and get the course prepared in time. The races brought in 650 skiers from across the country and United States. The ski event had multiple races for different ages and abilities. The 8-kilometer mini loppet is perfect for families and children. Plus, there was the 20-kilometer Marie-Louise Lake Loop, the popular 35-kilometer tour, and the 50-kilometer distance for skate, classic, and skiathlon technique. Coordinator of the Sleeping Giant Loppet, Peter Gallagher, says that despite the delay for grooming, the weather was perfect.
It feels fantastic to be here on a day when we had 20 centimeters of snow that we had to deal with, whereas last year we couldn't hold the event because there was no snow, right? So quite a contrast. Yeah, when you stand here at the finish line and you see mums with daughters and you see people pulling young children in pulks, but then you see the elite racers who come from the States and all over Canada to participate. It's an event that's an icon, I think, of Thunder Bay, and I hope it carries on for another 45.
We will have the results of the 50-kilometer race coming up in sports. And speaking of sports,